I'll be there in a second. Oh, we're getting an ad. There we go. And hello, everybody. Steve Sandy here with Mr. Dennis Sellers, who we haven't seen since he went on vacation. So welcome back. And Mr. Marty Edwards.
Good evening.
Hello.
How's it going?
Going well for me. Had a great vacation, but it's always good to get back home and get back in the swing of things and join you guys for the show.
Yeah, we haven't seen you in a few weeks.
No, about 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And I thought I was going to be gone tonight. Last concert of the year for the high school, and my niece is in the band. And so, of course, I was going to that, but they moved it to tomorrow night because of a band banquet tonight. So it worked out great.
Perfect. They actually knew you were going to be doing this show. And,
it's really popular around town, and when they found out, they just changed everything.
Well, there you go. There you go.
So, Dennis, you'll notice I've got some earrings in here.
I noticed. Very stylish. So.
Well, it was so funny because what happened was I was looking at, I got to admit, it was a different website, not ours. But one day this thing came up and it said, AT&T has AirPods in stock. And so I went out and, it said, order these now and you can have them by Thursday or Friday or something like that. And I clicked, just got on there really, really quickly. So I didn't have to wait 6 weeks. I only had to wait months for them and then wait until AT&T got them in stock. But I'm enjoying them. I really do. And I like them.
So did you try them at a ball game the way you talked about?
No. Yeah. And we had talked about doing that. I think, what we were trying to do was listen to MLB's, whatever the heck you call it, kind of live broadcast that you can do of from the other team. And we ended up sharing both halves of just a regular set of ear pods. And that worked pretty good. The only problem is that we discovered that the live feed is about 35 seconds behind the game to maybe as close as a minute. And which makes it really difficult when you're trying to score a game and you're going, wait a second, they just said that he was out and he's on first base. What happened? And then you realize it's all out of sync and things are not good. So I hate to say it, but I think, if we really want to do a lot of scoring, we're going to have to do it with the local announcers.
So, may have to do it. So
I'm so sad.
So I was talking about sharing the earpieces. When Bluetooth 5 comes out, that's one of the things its protocol allows. You can broadcast to 2 Bluetooth devices simultaneously.
Nice.
Well, I know I got my AirPods. I was lucky I got them shortly after they came out, and I find them handy. Of course, I live in a house with 2 ladies, my daughter and my wife. So if they turn on while you were sleeping for the 100th time, I will put mine in and get my iPad Pro out and watch something manly like Die Hard. So.
Good stuff. Well, I thought we could, talk about some of the more recent news just for the heck of it, and then we can get off and, because it seems like we always, end up taking these interesting paths, and that's what makes this show fun, is when we kind of get off the trail and we get onto the dirt. And it makes it a lot of fun. So a couple of things that were interesting. I don't know if you guys watched that video of the Apple Park construction, but I was really amazed at how little was really done a year ago, and how, I don't know, it just looked like, it was definitely a work in progress. And now you see the place, and you can see that people are starting to move in. Everything's ready to go there. But Matthew Roberts, he's got a company, I think it's Maverick Media now, but he's been doing those drone overflights and really captured a lot of just great views of that place. So I'm going to miss that after that place is open,
Well, I would love to go down and get a tour of the new spaceship campus, as they call it. I'm hoping to do that at some point in time. I'd really, really like to see it up close and personal.
Me too.
So you think WWDC is going to be the first use of it on June 5th?
I don't think so.
That's not where the keynote's being held, is it?
No, they're doing everything over at
Moscone Center?
No, it's the McInerny Convention Center in San Jose, and which is a big building. That place is gigantic, but at least it was like 20 years ago when I used to go to WWDC all the time. That place was huge, and if it's been added onto, because most cities seem to do that, let's expand it and get more conventions. And if they expanded it, it's probably, giant size there. But no, I have a funny feeling they'll probably take some people for a tour, hopefully. That'd be cool.
And probably use their first public event for the iPhone unveiling, 10th year.
Ooh, that would be nice. That would be really good.
Work that well.
Yeah.
That's probably what they'll do.
So I thought it was interesting. We had the story today about the MP3 format. It's they've officially stopped the licensing program for certain MP3 related patents and software, and making MP3s format free for developer use. And the preferred standard for music and video downloads is now AAC, which of course that's one that Apple just loves. So what did you guys think about that news?
Well, that's I guess things are changing, because MP3s have been around since the heyday of, I won't say computing, but for a long time. Yeah,
it really has been forever.
I think when most people think of digital songs, I think a lot of people probably just think MP3. It's almost like, Coke as a soft drink.
That's what I was going to mention. Dennis and I both are from the South. And if you go to any restaurant and you want a dark soft drink, you just order a Coke. I don't care if it's Pepsi or Dr. Pepper, it's still a Coke. I don't know so much around Nashville, but here in Kentucky, every soft drink's a Coke.
Yeah, because it used to be that way. And what was that way growing up in West Tennessee? Now, I guess there are so many dark drinks that you have to specify a little bit. But now, when I was growing up, a dark soda was a Coke. And just a lot of people think that way of, hey, if I'm downloading a digital song, it's an MP3.
It's an MP3. I agree. I still think of it, hey, let me send you this MP3. So it's the changing of things,
Yeah, it's going to be hard to say, oh, I'm going to send you an AAC. It doesn't sound right.
People, what? What's that?
Yeah. I mean, it just sounds really, really kind of odd there. But, Yeah, I love that. They talk about, and it says AAC is the default or standard audio format for the iPhone, iPad, iPod Touch, iTunes, YouTube, Nintendo DSi, Nintendo 3DS, DivX Plus web player, PlayStation 3, and various other devices. So that's incredible.
So, I mean, as far as me, as far as, any practical changes to it being released, or licensing free, I guess it won't really affect me at all, since, almost all the digital music and things I buy are from iTunes or for, iPad or the iPhone. So I guess it won't make any difference to me practically.
One thing I'm wondering is, we send out the podcast, the daily update. That's actually done in MP3 format. And the application that I use to actually convert it from, I can't even remember what format it is. Anyway, I could look, but I won't. But anyway, I use Audacity, and Audacity makes you go out and you have to actually download the separate MP3 codec to be able to do that. I bet anymore they'll be able, since the licensing is going away, they'll actually be able to build that into the app. So could be nice for some of these developers like them. They've done that app free of charge for years, and it's still absolutely an incredible free and just a powerful audio editing tool. So thumbs up to those guys. I always love them. They're good folks.
Yeah, Audacity is a very powerful application. I know my wife's used it a lot, being a music teacher. And so Audacity being free really helps the schools and everybody, like that. And you're right. I use an app, application called WavePad to do some audio editing. I'd gotten connected with it. It's out of Australia, and I've really used it a lot. But every time I want to save an MP3, it has to go out and download the codec. So hopefully that'll be built in now.
Yeah, who knows? MP3 may suddenly see a revival here.
Yeah, because it is free.
Yeah.
Have you seen much data on how the AAC compares to MP3 as far as compression and lostness?
Well, the comment that Dennis had in his post today, it said basically it achieves better sound quality than MP3 at similar bit rates. So basically it's much more efficient for downloading, and sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Dennis puts out good stuff out there. He had some great articles today. Some of the stuff I saw first on Apple World Today.
Man, that's what we want.
Yeah.
We want to be first. Yeah. Well, of course, today was the big release of iOS 10.3.2, watchOS 3.2.2, tvOS 10.2.1, and macOS 10.12.5. So a lot of stuff out there. Did you guys do any of the updates yet? Or
I did them all, and I haven't had any, which may or may not be a good idea, but no, I just went on updating free and updated all mine. But so far, I mean, I think most of the things were, performance improvement, bug fixes. I think the macOS update has some improvements for people who are having problems with USB headphones, if I remember correctly. So, I mean, I wasn't having any problems before with anything in particular, but sometimes after you upgrade, you're like, well, hopefully it won't break anything. And so far, so good. The watch, the iPhone, the iPad, and the Mac are all still humming along smoothly.
I just remember it was, I think it was one of the 10, must have been 10.6 or something like that. iOS, 10.6. But yeah, it would have been 10.6 right around that period of time, or maybe 10.7 or 10.8. But anyway, we had they did a release, and it immediately bricked a bunch of phones, and so they stopped sending it out. And guess who had one of the bricked phones? Me. So I managed to get it back to the previous version for maybe an hour, and it seemed like they, at that point they came out with the corrected version and was able to get that on. But that was a scary afternoon. It was like, oh no, I don't have my iPhone's dead.
Yeah, I guess if I was a more cautious man, I'd wait and make sure that nobody else had bricked their Mac or their iPhone with the updates. But for whatever reason, I felt like living dangerously today. So I did.
There's so many betas now, so many public betas. Generally, they've combed through everything, and I feel safe.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I pointed to my headphones when Dennis mentioned that because I use USB headphones, but I've had no issue with them that I've noted.
Dennis uses virtual headphones.
Yeah, they're invisible. So.
They look natural. I like them.
Yeah, the most natural looking headphones out there. They're great. So another piece of news today out of Intel. Looks like somebody leaked a presentation. It was in German, but they talked about Intel Core i9 Skylake X and Kaby Lake X architecture. And the interesting thing about these is, they talk about one of the really, really high-end chips. Let me see if I can find this thing here. Yeah, what they're showing is 12 cores and 24 threads on the top of the line one, what they call the Core i9 7920X. And of course, these haven't been announced yet, but they think it'll probably be announced sometime next month, at which time they'll probably come out with a path to when the chips will actually be available. But isn't that unbelievable? Thinking of 12 core, if you had multiple of those in a new Mac Pro, wow.
I'm thinking of those for a Mac Pro. I just wonder. I don't think it'll be in time for the iMac. Probably overkill for an iMac.
Yep, unless they were really going to delay the iMac till near the end of the year. And I could be wrong, but I'm expecting it to be available sometime in the near future, a new iMac. At least I'm hoping so. It'll be available sometime in the near future.
Yeah, I'm probably thinking October on those, though it would be nicer if it's a little earlier because we're definitely in the market for an iMac.
Yeah, I it's funny because I love my big iMac. Today I had just an absolutely great time because I was kind of done with doing some work and I was waiting for something to load on this Mac Mini that I've got over here. And so I was out on YouTube and there's a guy who is a weather chaser, one of those guys that goes out and chases storms, and by the name of Reed Timmer. And he had a tornado that he was chased just last week, and it was out near Ray, Colorado, which is out east. They get some pretty impressive tornadoes out there. But I didn't even know they had a tornado, and he's got this unbelievable 4K footage. And on this screen, it was like being there. It was pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's a great machine for watching videos. I know since I'm at my computer most of the day, but every once in a while being a movie buff, I'll take a break and look at the latest iTunes, go to the iTunes trailer site, look at trailers for upcoming movies. And the screen on the iMac is just great for that sort of thing, and watching videos of any sort.
And we're going everywhere with the conversation. Dennis led me to this. Did you see where that Amazon Prime Videos coming to Apple TV?
Yeah.
I think that's a big plus.
I know that's the rumor that's going to be unveiled at the keynote. And I hadn't been on. I've been offline for a couple hours for the show. So have they made it official, or is it still pretty much expected?
It's still rumor.
Okay.
Rumor city.
Yeah. We actually, of course, we've been Amazon Prime members for probably 10 plus years, but we hardly watch the videos. We have Netflix. We're cable cutters. We don't buy cable. And so we watch a lot of online videos. My wife does especially. We don't have an Apple TV yet, so it's not going to help that way either.
That's your next purchase after the
It might be.
iMac.
Yeah. It's not
Well,
a priority. We're not big. I'm not a big video watcher. If I am, it's YouTube usually.
Well, I tell you, my big wish right now is that one of the items that they announced at WWDC, really, really hoping for that 10.5-inch iPad Pro with the screen the size of the, current 11.9, because, if that comes out, I probably will jump on it. I do love my iPad Pro. The one issue, and we actually talked about this, I think, last week. Marty and I were kind of talking about it. The one thing that does bother me, though, is that occasionally I find that the workflow doing something using an iPad Pro ends up being slower, simply because you don't really have that true multitasking where you can just kind of. And I wish they would do something with the multitasking in iOS to really kind of bump that up. If not, I may end up, I hate to say it, I may end up going back to a MacBook or something.
Well, of course, obviously one of the it's as certain as anything possibly can be in the Apple world. We're going to see previews and talk about the next versions of macOS and iOS and tvOS and watchOS during the WWDC keynote. That's almost 100% certainty that that's going to happen. So I guess it'll be interesting to see what they talk about as far as the future of iOS, since even though Apple has gone out of its way to say we're really committed to the Mac, but they also say but we're going to I think that they've said we're going to promote the iPad Pro as a laptop replacement for some users too, and as you say, for a lot of users, until they have more robust multitasking, it's not going to be a viable laptop replacement.
Yeah.
If they converge the iOS and Mac OS, I won't say converge into basically one thing, but if it ever did, iPad Pro would be it, I'd love to have a flat Mac, just that form factor, but run the Mac OS or something very comparable because of the multitasking and some things I need to do.
Mm-hmm. Well, Apple's been adamant that that's not going to happen. Of course,
you're right.
Some things in the past and have changed their minds. And from everything I've heard, I know that a lot of people have said, Apple should take, learn from Microsoft's Surface line of products that, how cool it is. But all the anecdotal evidence I've read said that the Surface machines really aren't selling that well. So that if that's the case, Apple may say, well, then we don't really see a whole lot of impetus to do.
Yeah, we don't want to follow those guys down, down off the cliff. Don't want to be lemmings here.
And I think we're going to see a Siri Speaker, don't you think? An assistant. That's what all the rumors are saying. Mm-hmm. Most of my rumors are from the Sellers Research Group.
The Sellers Research Group pretty much, in a lot of cases, responds to what other pundits have said. But I think it's the USB analyst, and I don't know, how do you pronounce it? Ming Chai? Is it CKUO? Is Cho? Is that how you pronounce it? So
don't even ask a Kentucky guy. I will destroy it.
Don't ask guys from Colorado either.
He seems to be the most accurate pundit out there as far as predicting things. And I think
you're right.
And that's what really makes me think we'll see that, and the 10.5-inch iPad Pro. I can't remember. I may have these percentages reversed, but I think he said that there was a 70% chance, he says, we'll see one unveiled at WWDC, and a 50% that we'll see the other one. I think the 70% is the iPad Pro and 50% is the Siri Speaker. So based on his track record, I'd say I'll be expecting to see those, just because, like I say, he's usually pretty accurate. So kudos to him.
Yeah, and I'll have to get the credit card all warmed up and ready to order one. It would be nice.
You owe it to our viewers. You need everything they have.
Exactly. And then, when the 10,000 keyboard cases come out or are announced, I'll have to gotta do those reviews, or
Yeah.
life would be sad.
Well, something else that might affect us a little bit before then, I just read before we went live that they think it's going to be this week that Google's going to unveil their Google Assistant for iOS.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Which I think is really good, because I've brought it up before on here. Google Assistant, or the Google voice activated engine. I haven't really used Google Assistant, but using Google now for searches has a much better response rate and accuracy rate for me than the other platforms. And I'm deliberately not saying the name of Amazon's platform, because I did that Friday on the British Tech Network show, and that Amazon AI spoke up.
That's
It
pretty
got
neat.
a good laugh.
Dennis, are you as tempted as I am? No, he's on earpods, so he wouldn't do it. No, I wouldn't do that. But you're right, Steve. My evidence is anecdotal, but I have found Google Voice far more accurate with my accent and my word selection than Siri, and I haven't used the Amazon-based one. Siri does good, but and even their data. I ask, of course, I knew where's that. I asked Siri and Google both, where's the nearest post office? Well, there's one about 2.5 miles from the house. Google brought it up, showed me a picture. I could hit dial. Siri sent me 20 miles away, passing many other post offices along the way. Now, I don't quite understand. There's just, and Dennis, you weren't here, but one of the lady friends from church, we were at a wedding, and she was trying to use Siri to get home. And I said, well, just tell it to navigate home. She did. It brought up her home address. I saw it on the screen, and below it, and the voice said, I don't know anything about you, and would never direct her home. So I don't know what was going on there. I didn't have time to debug it for her.
Oh, man.
So, I really do enjoy Apple products, but Siri has a long ways to come.
Yeah.
Well, that was another story. I think, Dennis, didn't you do that over the weekend? Apple bought some deep data company.
Dark Data.
Dark Data.
I don't have my screen. Lattice, it starts with an L, but yeah, they evidently they bought it last month, but it was just came to life this weekend. But
maybe deep dark data.
Or deep data. Deep Dive is the name of the technology. I can't think of the name of the company, but Deep Dive is the name of the technology.
Yeah, it says Lattice Data.
Lattice.
AI company, yeah.
For some reason, I thought it was Dark Data.
Interesting. Yeah, they said unstructured dark data and turn it into structured, more usable information. It was born out of the Stanford research project Deep Dive, a framework for statistical inference. So interesting. That's kind of, yeah, if they can take like everything that's everybody asks and makes queries for about with Siri, and actually dive into that data a little bit, that could be interesting.
I do think Apple was held back because of their robustness on privacy. Google will mine everything it can, and that's one of the reasons I think they are better. And whereas Apple really doesn't want to share as much out, so that their samples are smaller, and there's pros and cons to both. But I had to admit, I go to Google a lot to ask for things instead of Siri because of the accuracy. Apple will never allow this, but I really sometimes wish I could press and hold the home button to get a Google response instead of having to drill down to the app. But of course, that's never going to happen, and it really shouldn't on the iPhone.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the interface works. The one for Amazon's AI, I really don't want to set her off back there, but the one for Amazon's AI is kind of interesting. The only thing they let you do with their app is really add or enable the different apps or capabilities. I can't remember what the heck they call them. They've got a specific name for it, but you can do that. And I think, let me look here. Great, now I can't find it. There it is. And this is the app I'm talking about and the device. Let's see. Whoops. I suppose I could hook this guy up, but anyway.
Do you remember how on Superman, Mr. Mixelplix had to be tricked into saying his name backwards? That's what I feel like you're doing and avoiding, is saying a certain word tonight.
It's exactly what I'm doing here. Oh, this is funny. Yeah, let's see here. Oh, and you just heard it make a noise back there, that echo device. But yeah, the interesting thing is it will show every conversation that you've had with the device. But I'm trying to remember if you can do one. I don't think you can. In other words, you can't ask it. You can ask the device back there, but you can't ask the app. So it'll be interesting to see how Google does that.
Well, I'll tell you what you can do, Steve, and you're probably aware, but if you go into it's too bright on the Amazon app, press the microphone, and it will ask that device that remains nameless.
This is sounding bad. The device that remains nameless. Oh, God. It's so funny.
You can actually do that through the Amazon shopping app. So I wouldn't want Apple to let them reprogram the home button, because that needs to stay Apple. And that's why I use Siri so much anyway, is because it's just so handy in the vehicle. You don't have to look, press and hold, and it responds. Yeah,
hopefully by Monday or Tuesday of next week, I think I mentioned we're getting a new Honda CR-V, kind of trading in one of the old ones and getting a new one that has all the wonderful features, and including CarPlay. So they even have a Siri button on the steering wheel. So you just go, doop, ask it.
Let us know what you think of that one after you've had it.
I want to see some videos of that.
Yeah, I'm thinking I got to do video for that one. That'll be fun. Yeah. So, this is the most expensive accessory I've ever purchased.
Just
when my wife got the new iPhone, she said, well, I need a new car now because of Apple, of Apple Play. We haven't gone that far yet, but one is in the future. I think both cars or vehicles are now over 10 years old. So that is really my criteria. I want to get Apple Play in a car or a truck, probably. We're sort of truck people. But.
Yeah, this thing is just, I'm sorry, Dennis.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say the thing that just amazes me, though, is in 10 years, the price of the car, because like I said, we got ours 2007. Both my wife and I got the same car at the same time. And the price of the car hasn't gone up all that much, but the amount of technology in it is just absolutely amazing. And, I'm just wondering if things have changed that much in terms of the foreign exchange rates with Japan or something over the years, that it actually made the car, about the same price, but, now it's got all these other things that are able to be used. So great stuff.
That sounds like computer progression. Even though prices may not go down on Macs or iPhones or whatever, you usually get more bang for your buck. The price may stay the same, but it's got all the new and exciting stuff in it. So I'm surprised that that's happened with the brand of car that you like. I would have figured cars with new technology, the price would be even higher.
Yeah. I mean, I felt the same way. I kept thinking, it's going to be, probably $10,000 more than it actually is going to be. And I'm just totally amazed with it. The bad part of it was, and I think I mentioned this to Marty last week on the show, was that I downloaded a copy of or a PDF of the owner's manual. And, owner's manuals are normally, they're smaller, so they fit in the glove compartment. So they're normally, at least the old ones was, maybe it was about 200 pages. This thing is like 700 pages.
Wow.
It's nuts.
Yeah.
Well, this is off the topic a little bit, but I've got something I want Apple to make, and that is the iCar seat. Since I have a granddaughter, like my car was in the shop last week, so I had to take the car seat out and move it to my wife's car if I was going to go pick up my granddaughter. And when my kids were little, you threw the thing in there and you ran the seatbelt through the thing in the back, and that was it. These days, I felt like I need an engineering degree to hook up the car. Like there's 3 straps you hook up, and like, how do I tighten this strap? So it took me forever to move the car seat from
wow.
and strap it in and tighten things up. I felt pretty good. I can use a computer, and I can't get this car seat in this car. So.
That's amazing. Yeah, I've got my nephew and his wife are coming out in June, so next month, but they're coming out with their son who's about 6 months old. And, that's going to be fun because they're not renting a car. They're just out here for the weekend. And I'm sitting here going, oh my God, how the heck do we put how do we, hopefully they know how to do it. Hopefully they'll just see the car and they'll go, oh yeah, get it set up. Because me?
Oh yeah, I mean, like my son and daughter-in-law, I mean, since they have to do it all the time, they can do it quickly. But the first time I put one in, it had been years since I messed with the car seat, and I didn't realize how much. I'm sure they're much, much safer than the ones I drove around with, that I had for my kids. And of course, when I was little, of course, I'm 8,000 years old. But when I was little, sometimes you didn't even wear a car seat. You just jumped in the car and took off.
Yeah, there was no car seats in those days. You stood up in the front seat or just sit there.
Yeah.
Sitting down.
Yeah, I remember sitting standing up in the back of the car with my head over the, checking out what was going on there. And I remember one time, this was, I think, after they put seatbelts in cars, but they didn't have the shoulder straps yet. We had a 1965, what was that thing? Oh, it was a Chevrolet Impala station wagon. This thing, probably got 4 miles to the gallon. It was huge, gigantic, the family truckster, And, but I was in the front seat. I had the seatbelt on. And we were going down Spear Boulevard in Denver, which will only make sense to people who are from Denver, but it's kind of this main drag that goes down, there's big trees on it. There's a big creek that goes through there. And I don't know what happened. My dad had to jam on the brakes. And here I am, probably 7 years old, maybe somewhere around there. But I actually almost like bent double, because no shoulder strap, but I almost like bent double and actually hit my head on the metal, because that's what they used to make them out of, but the metal front of the dash. And in case you're wondering what is wrong with me, that is what happened. But and back in those days, they didn't check for concussions or anything like that. It was like, you're okay, just got a bump on the head.
Things were different in the 60s now. So
yeah, I can remember when
we survived.
We were in the back. My little brother and I were in the back of, I can't remember what vehicle it was, but Dad was in a hurry, and he was on some of those Tennessee back roads, and he was going a little bit fast. And I remember my brother and I were in the back seat, and we're like, back and forth.
Oh man!
Well, living in the country and around farms, we'd always ride in the back of pickups.
Yeah.
But sometimes we would have the tailgate down and ride on the back of the tailgate setting with your feet about
dangling
3 inches
over
from the
the
ground. Yeah.
Yeah.
How did we three make it to this point tonight? But we're here as a testimony.
Yeah, it's I'm thinking, I just thought of a great t-shirt, and I'm going to have to make it before somebody else does now, but we ought to make a t-shirt. I survived the 1960s.
Yeah. We're not talking Woodstock, et cetera. We're talking automobiles.
That's right.
So,
Well, and everything, playground equipment back in
Oh,
those
yeah.
days, now everything's padded and very nice, I think they were trying to get rid of us or something
Yeah.
because
I know you'd fall in gym class and nearly break something, shake it off. That was the common
Mhm.
thing, just shake it off. So we did and went on. So,
I remember when my kids were little, I took my granddaughter to a park. I used to carry my kids. And back then when my kids, we had I could call it a merry-go-round, one of those things. And I'd put them on there and run around in circles and spin them as fast as I could. I guess it's too dangerous now because I can't find one anymore.
Yeah.
So.
yeah. And I remember those things, and we used to, we'd get them going fast enough that, you'd get right in the center, and you're spinning around, and then it would finally slow down and stop, and you were walking like
yeah, exactly.
Oh.
Yeah. People will probably reference this video. You ought to watch these 3 old guys talk about computers.
We could call it the 3 old farts. 3 old farts. We'll change the name, AWT TV, or oh man. But yeah, it was a different world back then. In case anybody, the younger generation, I think, just won't appreciate it.
No, you just didn't have the safety things that you do now, and so has been. And what led us to all this was the technology has changed in the cars.
Yeah.
And everything. So no, even like, my truck now is it's a 2008 GMC Sierra. Wasn't running quite right this week. Didn't have Dennis's problems because I could still go. And so, to hook a device, it said cylinder 6 is not firing properly. It just basically tells you what's wrong. I needed some spark plugs and wires, easy fix. And, if Siri ever can integrate with the car manufacturers to have those kind of messages come up when something's going wrong, Siri could say, your number 6 cylinder didn't fire just right then. You might want to check it. I think it'd be great. Of course, that may be too much information for some people.
Yeah, that automatic device, which strangely enough, I had one of the first generation ones, but you plug it into the diagnostic port on your car. And there was actually 2 different types right now. The one, you buy it and it comes with a lifetime 3G data account. And it can be used for tracking your vehicle. Like if you've got a fleet, you put this thing in there and you can figure out where the car is. But while it was working, and I won't go into that story, but while it was working, the thing really gave me some interesting information because it would tell you, if you made a jackrabbit start, or if you stopped too hard or something like that, or if you were over the speed limit for a certain amount of time, it would let you know. But the biggest part was occasionally you'd get a weird light that would come up on the dashboard, and it's like, what's going on here? And it would actually tell you for that model car, this diagnostic code means, in the app, you could look and it'd say, this diagnostic code means that the TPMS sensor is bad, or something like that. So it was pretty impressive. I'm going to have to look in the owner's manual for this thing, but I keep thinking it'll actually come up on the display now, that they'd actually put the error. But like you said, if they could have it, at least, tell you, oh, Steve, your car has had has a problem with the turbocharger. You need to get it fixed, or something like that. And then tell you where the closest Honda dealer is. That'd be cool.
Yeah. Well, the technology is there. I feel like the $6 million man, we have the technology. We can do this. And so,
There's things I really had enjoyed growing up. A lot of things in my childhood, but when I look back, I'm not one of those people that looks back and wishes technology was like it was then. I love modern technology. So
too.
I'll do what we do, because I'm not one of those people that says, well, those were the good old days. In a lot of ways, these are the good old days, or the good new days, or whatever. And I think technology is one area in which that's true. It's amazing.
You think about, healthcare, and people gripe about the cost and unavailability of, this, that, and the other thing. But, people are living so much longer, whether it's the drugs that, the pharmaceutical companies are making, or, just being able to test for things and, know that somebody has a specific syndrome or a problem years before they ever would have, started showing some, external sign of that, saving a lot of lives.
Well, that brings us back to Apple. I guess obviously you all have seen that Apple Watch looks like they're going to be diagnosing maybe sugar levels with the watch, for diabetes, and having some kind of functional band that can check things. I didn't see any details on that, but there's a lot of possibilities.
Yeah, smartwatch bands, but I don't think there's any details. It's just sort of, I guess, speculation right now. But I mean, it makes sense with Apple focus on health right now. That seems to be a logical progression of something they would do.
I thought it was kind of interesting. I saw a post, and I don't recall where it was, but they were mentioning that, if you took a look at Steve Jobs, his entire focus from, the early days of Apple until about the time he passed away was music. It was always music is in our DNA. He always said that. And they said, if you take a look at Tim Cook, it's health. It's, how are we healthy? What can we do to make people healthier? And, I loved the comment that was in this post. And like I said, I hate to say that I don't remember where I read it, but this person said, if anything, Tim Cook should be remembered for having gotten a lot of geeks to obsess about filling the rings on their Apple Watches. That was a good comment.
Well, I was checking on the calendar here, and it's 3 weeks from today till WWDC. So I know we'll have a lot of comments that night, and it'll get here before you know it. So, we mentioned this already, but I'm really excited about the Google Assistant if it comes to Apple Watch this week. So if it does, I'll get it loaded and really test it. Maybe we can have some demos next week.
Okay, sounds good.
Some things about it.
Yeah, that'll be a cool one. I was just thinking about things to things to show, and I'm looking around here, and I don't see anything that I have that. Well, I've got a couple of things that I still have to write reviews about, but they're not out of the box yet. And then I got a brand new, I guess you could call it wireless blood pressure checker. I've got one that I use all the time, which is this one from Cardio, however you pronounce their name. But this one is from another company whose name will remain nameless. Dead out of the box. I got it all charged up, and I put the app on my wife's iPhone, and we're getting ready to do a reading, and I push the button, and it comes up, error 004. That's helpful. So needless to say, the manufacturer is sending a second one. And if anybody wants a broken, you could take this apart and have some fun with it.
So how's your Echo B3 working out?
Absolutely great. We finally are starting to get warm enough days that the air conditioning is kicking in. And I thought it was really interesting because when we heat the house, or when it's been heating the house, it usually will run the furnace and the fan for the same amount of time, and then it just kind of shuts off. With the air conditioning, I looked at the the one period of time where it actually went on during the last week, and the air conditioner was on for a very short amount of time, and then it circulated the air in the house for quite a while after that. So I thought that was interesting. And I don't know what algorithms are using, and I shouldn't, but it's kind of, I'm one of those people. I'm always thinking, so how did they figure out that for heating, it's best to do it this way, but for cooling, it's better to
Right.
do it that way. Kind of neat.
Well, and Dennis will attest because we live so close to each other. You needed air conditioning today.
Oh, yes. Yeah,
We
you're gonna
hit
need
right
more.
near 90, and it's supposed to get 90, and it's summer's here in the South.
Yes, it is.
You're going to love this. Later this week, they're threatening that we could have one day where we may have mixed rain and snow. Colorado in the springtime. You got to love it. I got to see what day that is.
On my vacation, our last day of the vacation before we headed back, we were in Telluride, Colorado, and we woke up that morning. We were going to drive to Denver, where our flight left from Denver. We woke up and there was 4 inches of snow, and it was 25 degrees. So drive to Denver, fly back to Tennessee, get back at 11 o'clock at night, where it's 75 degrees. So
yeah, I don't know if you can. I don't know if you can see this, but for Thursday, it's showing a high of 44, a low of 32, and possibility of snow. And that's why, it's so funny because a lot of people who, have moved here over the years. I mean, this used to be a little tiny cow town, and now, it's a pretty huge metropolitan area. But those of us who have lived here know that Memorial Day is like a safe day to plant things. Even then, we've had freezes as late as June 8th. And, so I see all these people going out and they're planting flowers and they're planting vegetables. They're having a great time. And I'm just going, not going to do it. Not going to fall for it.
Well, we're definitely a little earlier than that on our last freeze, and I know Dennis probably even slightly earlier.
Yeah.
Dennis is probably about 70 or 80 miles south of me.
But, yeah, we've had, and of course, lots of rain, and last week, just a lot of rain here, but now it's feeling like Marty said, summer in the South, fairly pleasant, nice, but hot, and during the day, and the humidity is going to be going up just every week.
Humidity was quite low today. It was a Chamber of Commerce day. It was beautiful here.
Mm-hmm.
Low humidity, crystal clear sky, just a beautiful day. So, and I haven't read as much tech news today because of that. And
you've been out hanging out and doing good stuff.
Yeah, doing a little bit more. Yeah, like that. So,
yeah, the one thing. Speaking of which, I always like to talk about those things that I would love to get. And let me see if I can find a link for this, and I'll bring it up on the screen here. Oops. There it is. I don't like the name of this thing, but I saw the price tag on it, and that's neat. There we go. Anyway, I saw the price tag on this thing, and I said, finally, they've gotten them cheap enough that it would do it for me. And let me share this screen here. It is, where are we? There it is. Okay, what that is the Works Landroid. Like I said, I don't like the name, but robotic lawnmower. And we've got a fairly small lot, so this would be perfect in a situation like this. But normally these things have sold for like $2,500 to $5,000. And this company is selling this one for, as you can see there, it's like $828. And the idea is that you basically, you probably still want to keep a regular lawnmower around, but you get it real short, get your grass real short, and then you have this thing go out and it just mows every day. And it just keeps the grass at the same height. And I thought, what an absolutely nice way to keep your yard looking absolutely perfect. So that's on my want list. I doubt if I'll ever get it, but it's neat. It's kind of a cool idea.
Well, as long as you have the credit card warmed up for the Apple products.
You order it before June the 5th, just in case.
No,
pretty
that
neat,
stuff's a
yeah.
lot more important. But yeah, I've been looking at these things for years, and it just totally shocked me when I saw this thing for less than $1,000. And the biggest problem with a lot of the robotic lawnmowers is that every one of them, you have to put a little wire out there that it detects the wire and it says, oh, that's the border there. I can't go near it. Kind of like the what do they call them? Electric fence or electronic
Invisible
fences
fence
for dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Visible. So I've got
So it's
one
kind of
for
like,
my dog. I wonder if that lawnmower could be trained to recognize that thing.
you never know. Well, it's funny because I looked at some of the comments and people were saying, well, I couldn't find or I thought the extra cable for this thing was a little too expensive. So I went out and bought the invisible fence cable because it was cheaper. So you never know.
Yeah, I
So
would
keep your
think
dog
as
in.
accurate as GPS has gotten, it might could use that, but probably not quite that accurate enough.
Yeah, and it might get if cloud appears or something like that, all of a sudden it'd be mowing in the street, and neighbors would not be happy about that. So what do you guys have of any interest or demonstrations that you'd like to do? Or
Well, I won't do it now because we just did it, but maybe in a few weeks I might revisit Luminos, that astronomy app, some new things I have learned and some updates that they've had. So Dennis didn't get to see that one.
That was cool.
I thought I would maybe do I'll just give you a heads up, Steve, of what I've learned. It shows where all satellites are, like the space station and every kind of satellite you can imagine. But you can, like, you remember how you could orbit a planet like Jupiter and all? With a satellite, you can get on it and ride and see where it's going and being and see the view from the satellite. It's pretty neat. And they really added some good things to it. So I'll maybe in a few weeks again. And we're going to have a total eclipse in Kentucky, August 21st. And actually at our house, it's going to be not quite full. So we're going to drive the 100 miles where it's full. It's going to be full for 2 minutes, 40 seconds. And that's the maximum it can be. So I'm going to maybe, as we get a little closer, demo with the app, the eclipse and how it looks and everything. So I did have one little thing I thought I might share with one of the Apple apps that I thought a lot of our visitors, I was in church talk there for a moment. A lot of our viewers might not quite be aware of that you can do with this app. If we got just a moment here, won't take but a second. So I always try to keep something prepared to view. So let me share the screen of my phone real quick here. All right, share QuickTime. And I think I'm about to get this down, how I can do it. Okay, I assume y'all see my screen.
Yes,
of my phone. Okay, as you can see, it's suddenly 9:41 a.m. and 100% battery. It is always that. Apple always is 9:41 a.m. and that's not right. But one of the stock apps is the compass. And I thought I would just show a couple of things that people might not be aware of. You open up the compass, it's going to have my GPS location, but that's all right. It shows as I rotate west and I'm turning north, and sure enough, it points north and gives the degrees. In the middle, there's a little, as you see, to let you be able to balance it, tells the degrees, tells altitude. Here we're 720 feet, so we're relatively low. But I've sometimes need my latitude and longitude in other locations, and nowhere does it tell you this, but if you press and hold on your latitude and longitude, the word copy pops up. Copy, and it's in the clipboard then. And so if I go, let's say yeah, that's something fairly new. Let me just do a new note here. If I can, let's see here real quick, demonstrate everything. I'm going to paste the note. Sure enough, there's my latitude and longitude that I copied from that app. So let's go back to that. And one other little thing on the compass that a lot of people, You cannot tell on this, but with the new haptic feedback on the phone, every time I pass one of the 30-degree marks, the phone vibrates. It's just neat to let you know where you're at. But if I'm pointing this direction and just say if I touch it, now suddenly it lets me fill in like I want to go so many degrees from that bearing. And probably a lot of people don't realize you can fill it in like that, and you tap it again to turn that off. So the compass has a few things that aren't obvious. And of course, if you slide to the left, it brings up, you know, like an old time bubble level to get your phone level. I've got the phone laying flat now, but if I turn it up like I'm going to video, it changes. And I have the actual real, okay, I just got it level. So it turns green. There's not level. I have found that extremely useful when mounting my phone on an iPod or on a tripod. And so, but it lets you know. It's
also great for hanging pictures.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
I don't know how many times I've used that. It's
when you're
great.
level, it turns green. And so there's a couple little things there. I thought that the viewers might not. I have had people tell me I didn't know the phone had a compass. And there's a couple of neat little things that you can do with it. So a quick little demo there.
Very cool.
An iPhone
Well,
has.
thank you. I mean, actually, that is a great demo because, like you said, that's one of those apps that people, you know, if they do know that it's there, they probably never use it, but you know, it can save your life.
I have found it, you know, quite accurate. And often when I go to like these band concerts, and I'll take a tripod with an iPhone mount, and I have found the compass or the level very handy to be able to get the phone level. So it works well. So that's my demo of the week.
I'm taking a look right now at a website. It's the greatamericaneclipse.com, just greatamericaneclipse.com. And for those of you who just heard about this, you know, hopefully you've heard about it before, but it's got, this site has maps that show the longest eclipse duration in all these different states, and basically where you can be and to get the best possible view. And let's see, for well, this is totally amazing because it looks like at least well, maybe both of you. No, it actually looks like Dennis won't even have to leave his house.
All right.
Well, where is Gallatin compared from you?
It's
is that north?
about 15 miles away.
Gallatin is almost on the what they call the longest duration of totality line. And,
okay. No, that's just literally right down the road.
Yeah, because that's it'll be 2 minutes and 40 seconds there. My wife and I are actually going to be up in Wyoming at the Grand Tetons, which is an unbelievably beautiful area of the country. Yeah, but we're going with a group from the University of Colorado, and so we'll be up there with a couple of astronauts and a couple of astronomers. So should be fun.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the totality for us, I'm going to drive a little bit west, about 100 miles, and it'll be completely total for maximum of 2 minutes, 40 seconds. I hope it's not cloudy that day, but even if it were to be, it's going to get totally dark. But yeah, typically mid-August, we don't have that many cloudy days. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, the one thing have either of you seen a totality?
Not a
total solar eclipse. It's the most impressive thing natural event that you will ever see. That's all I can say. We saw one in February of 1998 down in the Caribbean, and it was funny. We got off of a cruise ship. It was a cruise that was designed for the eclipse, but you could either stay on the ship or you could get off on the island of Aruba. Now, Aruba is a desert island. It is literally dry, just flat and everything. So we get off the ship, we go out to our observing point, and clouds move in. And we were just panicking. It's like, oh my God, we're going to miss this thing. We're not going to be able to see it. And it rained a little bit, and then the clouds went out, and it was absolutely beautiful. But you get some really fascinating things just before the eclipse. If you're in an area where there's kind of a light surface, like a driveway or some concrete of some sort, you'll see these things called shadow bands, and it's actually interference patterns that are showing up, and it looks like you're seeing the ground is kind of shimmering almost. It's one of the weirdest things you'd ever want to see. The other cool thing is if it's really, really clear out, you can actually see the shadow approaching, and it's coming at about 4,000 miles an hour. And that's the one thing we're really looking forward to is the Grand Tetons are just unbelievable mountains. Anyway, just, very rugged and sharp and awesome. And being able to see the shadow actually coming over that is going to be incredible. Mm-hmm. But you will totally be amazed. It is unbelievable. Mm-hmm. I'll have to see if I can dig up my old photos from that, because it was I'll scan them. That was pre-digital,
You used film back then, right?
Yeah. But I actually have a somewhere around here. Oh yeah, right here. I found this. This is something I had purchased in 1998. I've got it wrapped in a plastic bag, but as you can see, this is a reflective filter, and it blocks out like most of the sun. So you can actually take photos. Well, I bought this thing years ago, and I was totally shocked to find that it fits my current camera on my big telephoto lens. So it was like, I must have known that I was going to see another one of these. But the other thing to remember, if you haven't already gotten them, they sell these eclipse glasses, which are made out of aluminized mylar. And I highly recommend getting out to Amazon or this greatamericaneclipse.com site and ordering them today, because I think they're going to be really, really hard to get. And you really want to wear them, at least up until totality, and then you can take them off and you'll really be amazed at what you see.
Okay. Good.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So.
And it's going to be a fun one. Anything else for tonight, or?
I think that's it for me.
Yeah, I don't have anything since I've been on vacation and had a couple of family health issues to deal with. So I don't have anything interesting to show tonight, but hopefully next week.
Yeah, and I'm hoping by the end of next week, I'll hopefully have some of the reviews written, and I'll show some of this stuff. And until then, I guess this is it for episode 8 of AWT TV. We'll be back next Monday night. Once again, I'm holding out that invitation to anybody who's a member of Team AWT. You can actually take part in our productions. We'll give you the secret code so you can get in on Zoom and actually have your smiling face show up on the screen. So we'd love to have you. So far, nobody's taken us up on it. And we could talk about what it was like to survive the 60s. Again, good stuff. Well, thanks, everybody. And like I said, until next week, bye from me and Marty and Dennis. And now we get to go to the wonderful intro outro.